I think during the 2020 primaries on the Democrat side, the powers that be got together, the Uniparty, consisting mostly of Democrats, but no doubt some Republicans too. They saw the lineup, they saw the debates, and just came to the conclusion that they're not beating Trump. Not without our help. We got to do something. So one of the first things they did was to whittle down the lineup, and they got it down to one. And obviously, something happened because Biden, out of nowhere, even though he was losing, he lost the first two races. I think he might have lost the third primary as well to Bernie, and it was looking good. They were about to write him off, and then all of a sudden, Clyburn, of South Carolina, endorsed him, and boom, he started winning so much that all the other candidates, this is like 30 of them, there's really about 17, they all just dropped out. They dropped out before Super Tuesday, and that's when most of the points could be won at that point. Super Tuesday makes or breaks campaigns, and they all but Bernie dropped out. That's a lot, don't you think? Something was going on. Someone was pulling strings. It wasn't just Clyburn. Obviously, I think Obama's behind it. But be that as it may, they got their candidate. Now they needed a plan to, as they even said themselves in Time magazine, fortify the election. So they, in violation of many of the state's constitutions, they mailed out millions of ballots. Just blanket mailed them out, printed them up, whatever. They had ballot boxes placed in strategic areas, so that breaks the chain of custody. They had the media on their side, so they got that. And then probably the biggest advantage they had was they had the tech giants and social media on their side, ready to crush any story, ready to censor anyone or anything, or unperson them, yank them off of Twitter if they found anything, any story that could come forward to hurt Biden. So they had everything wrapped up. The last thing was they had to make sure no one told Biden. Look, they knew there was something wrong with Biden. They knew he was liable to say anything. They knew during the primaries. So their biggest fear was that Biden would find out about any of this, because anything could end up coming out of that old man's decrepit head. So I'm sure every meeting ended with, "You didn't tell Biden, right?" "Nope, I didn't tell Biden jack." He has no idea. "You sure?" "Positive. Trust me." I think I might have told Biden. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, this is Keith. Welcome to the Ghetto Sapien channel, your home of inner city intelligence. So I call this when Biden was running and looked like he was going to be the candidate. I said that before his term is over, if God forbid the man wins, and he won, well, he's in office, I'll put it that way. If he's in office before his term is over, the biggest scandal of all is going to be who knew about his mental condition and when did they know? Did they know during the primaries? Because I think they did. Because they have to explain why they let this man in office, knowing when you had other people who were much younger, had more on the ball. Why did you pick this guy, knowing that he had, depreciated mental faculties? Someone needs to explain it. And that's going to be a huge scandal because it's obvious there's something wrong with him. Even CNN is questioning him openly.
Does the president have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. I can't even keep up with him.
keep up with that. I mean, he could probably outsleep you. He could sniff more children than you can. That man has energy. Look, I mean, that was some massive green lighting there. I can't believe she actually said that. Don himself didn't look impressed with her lying bullcrap. It was obvious to everyone who didn't vote for Joe Biden that there was something wrong with Joe Biden. And again, this was established well before he was installed in office. He was insulting voters. He was telling voters don't vote for him. He's calling them fat. Challenging them to arm wrestling contests. He told one guy, I don't work for you," pointing. I mean, he had what a lot of people who have, elderly parents and who probably dealt with dementia and Alzheimer's, like I have in my family. It's something called sundowner syndrome. They get cranky towards the end of the day. And Biden was obviously cranky. There was, and you see other signs. He shuffles when he walks and things like that. There were articles about him having notoriously light campaign schedule. Biden calls a lid. I mean, we knew this was going on. He wasn't campaigning. He was in his basement. It said, if calling the lid centers around mainstream American lexicon, this will be the week it started. Joe Biden called a lid, the arcane term reporters used, when a politician is done traveling for the day at 1 o'clock, 1 in the afternoon on Friday, 9:20 a.m. on Thursday, 9:22 a.m. on Tuesday, and 8:34 on Friday. This is like, if he cannot handle campaigning, he can't handle a day in Oval Office either. And supposedly now we're finding out that his schedule as president is extremely light. He's in Delaware every weekend pretty much. We're hearing rumors that they're worried about him tripping over a wire and things like that. Look, there are people around him who knew this. There are people working right now for the president who go home to their spouses and go, "Oh my God, can you believe what he did today?" And they keep it to themselves. They're cowards. They won't go and resign. They rather, foist this feeble-minded, decrepit man on the country. And everyone around the world can see what's going on. It's an embarrassment. And I really think people need to get locked up for letting this guy win and hiding what's in plain sight, that the man is not all there. Biden is rapidly deteriorating. Again, I've dealt with people with Alzheimer's in my family. You can see it. They get cranky again. They get frustrated because it's hard for them to remember things. And this is only going to get worse. No matter how much drugs they're pumping Biden with, and his blood sample could look like Long Island iced tea at this point with so many drugs in it, it's not going to help. Eventually the drugs stop working. I think the people who did this figured, he could last a term, but probably not 2 terms. But Biden's not going to last to the end of this term. He at the rate he's declining, he's got maybe a year before they can't drug him enough to make him presentable before the public. He can't negotiate treaties. He can't sit before Congress and do anything. There's nothing he can do. The job, in fact, people who are suffering from dementia, the more pressure they're under, the worse it gets. It accelerates. And that's what I also see that's happening with Biden. Everyone can see it. You watch national news, they'll cover it honestly. Sky News in Australia, they don't pull any punches. If you're watching CNN or MSNBC, you're not seeing what's really going on. You're blinded. And this has put us in a dangerous situation. I mean, no joke. Something has to be done. Something has to be done to remove Biden from office before this becomes a major catastrophe. And something really needs to be done about the people who allowed it and watched it happen, who hate this country so much and love power so much. They're willing to let someone who's clearly incapable of being president, he's incapable of being an Uber driver, let alone sit in the Oval Office. there are people who allowed this to happen. And again, they notice right now, they notice something wrong with Biden and they are not coming forward. And they really should. They shouldn't wait to write some freaking book after this is all over and try and make some money, behind the scenes with Joe Biden. They need to come out right now if they have any love for this country. Which I don't even know why I'm saying that. Most of them don't. They are in it for their own personal gain. And that's a shame. We warned them. The people who didn't want to vote for Joe Biden, I'm sure many of us has told people in our families, doesn't that look like grandma when she was going down, or mom or dad or anything like that. So a lot of the voters do too, but they didn't care either. They just wanted Trump out. So that's the situation we're in right now. I just, we'll see what happens next. I have nothing much else to say on this one, but I called it, and we're going to see, like I said, right after the midterms, you're going to start hearing that Joe Biden needs to be seriously removed by both sides, and then the question is going to be, how far back did people know about his condition, and what did they do about it? So, that's it for me. Like, share, comment, and subscribe.